Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? Okay. I'm having a little bit of a tough time just getting to my piano to do some more videos because of just weird hours when people are doing things in here at the house I'm in. But I'll be watching a dog, babysitting a dog shortly, and we'll have access to a piano there, so that'll make everything really awesome that way. But I also wanted to mention a few other things here in this video. So, yes, as I show you my fan here. First off, there's a topic here that I want to throw out to you guys. Seattle, whether or not you know about this or not, Seattle is becoming a bit more like San Francisco every day. Kind of. San Francisco is still very much I wouldn't move there. I'll put it that way. The San Francisco itself, I would not move there. I would go see Golden Gate maybe in the park, and that's about it. The downtown is really iffy right now because of all the actually human poop on the streets. No thanks. I mean, I skipped San Francisco for quite some time here. So Seattle's been becoming more like that kind of thing in certain places, and it's kind of still hanging in there. But you guys probably know about how Amazon, and mainly Amazon, along with some other companies, but mainly Amazon has bought up a lot of the office space, and it's really kind of largely contributing to Seattle's growing skyline, increasing housing costs, just all that kind of stuff. You guys are probably maybe if you're not aware of this, it's definitely a real thing. Seattle is not a place I would live. It's too expensive. Along with San Francisco, it's just, I wouldn't live there. It's better to live in Bellevue. Bellevue actually, in some respects, might be cheaper, even though it's a lot more affluent in general with houses and things. But, what's the point? If you're going to spend more than $1,500 or something per month on rent, I don't know, or at least, whatever your limit is, over 1,000 or something, then you might as well be trying to get a house or something. It's like ridiculous, to spend that much money. Absolutely ridiculous to spend that much money on rent. So, so this all being said, there's something happening regarding some kind of head tax that's going on in Seattle that is it might drive Amazon out of the city. I don't think it'll drive Amazon out of the state, but it certainly will drive Amazon out of Seattle, or could, if it's severe enough. And because just it's a lot of money that is being asked of not only Amazon but other companies, but in particular Amazon, to pay for what? What is this head tax going to pay for? What's going to pay for affordable housing in Seattle? Now, actually, you know what? That's a real issue. I like this idea of people being able to live in Seattle that aren't super amazingly wealthy. But even though a lot of people that are very wealthy would want to just rent a place, they have their own house, I think. But, it's just, if you're talking about certain areas that are just more expensive, certain areas are just more expensive. Everything just goes up in cost. And so maybe people are willing to pay for things when they have a lot more money coming in from a company like Amazon. But you see, the problem, of course, is when you have these very wealthy companies and you have these very high salaries, if someone were to ever lose a job and was kind of stuck there, right, and couldn't get a different job, or wasn't able to move very well, right, This is one of the things that contributes to homelessness. And in San Francisco, you're seeing this, and in Seattle, you might see this a little bit. Depending on how often Amazon either fires people or lays people off or whatever. And then they're stuck there. Maybe for a time. And so, this is something I realize is kind of political, but it has to do with with Seattle, with the way Seattle is, with it, I'm north of Seattle, so I'm not as affected by this, but it has to do directly with Seattleites. The closer you are to the downtown, the more it's going to affect you. Seeing all the homeless, feeling really bad for them, having to beg for money. I see beggars in the Seattle metro area. I see beggars if I'm out driving. Every single time I get to certain intersections, I see beggars. I'm always asking myself, do I give money or not? It's not a light matter, folks. This is a big thing. This is a very big deal. So, where do I stand on this issue? Well, the money has to come from somewhere, right? Somebody's got to pay for housing for people that can't afford it themselves. It has to come from somewhere. Well, I'm assuming the national government's probably very wasteful as it is, and they just spend money on I don't know what. So I would think that they should be helping out, but they probably won't very much. State government takes care of education and transportation. I don't know about housing. So it's up to the local governments, really, to take care of this stuff, I think, mostly. Well, it's a question of how many homeless there are. And it's a question of what they're good at. I would think it would be ideal to have organizations that could come in and talk to everybody that's homeless and offer them jobs, but depending on what they're good at. And then set them up with jobs, set them up with a place somewhere. It might not be Seattle, it might be somewhere else. That's the ideal situation. But if they're going to all be sticking around in Seattle, if it's just a Seattle issue, if that's not very realistic, well, they've tried the sugar tax, or they're trying the sugar tax, or the juice tax, whatever, in Seattle. It's not popular. It's very hated. So what about, instead of charging Amazon a whole bunch of money, because they won't like it, they'll just leave. They'll go to Bellevue or something. I don't know. Yeah. Instead of doing that, why not just have an open charity for any businesses or any people or any whatever that can contribute. And there should be benefits given to those people that contribute to housing for homeless in Seattle or lower cost housing. Other than laws and things that regulate, maybe, or new laws that can regulate how much landlords can charge, right, or whatever, all that real estate thing that I'm not 100% knowledgeable about, but I'm pretty knowledgeable about. If you don't have a donation, open donations, that could remedy what we're talking about here, even if maybe it doesn't raise as much money as might need. The rewards could simply be, you get your name on streets, you could get your name on these housing areas. Of course, if you donate just a little bit of money, you could get your name on a little slab of cement. In addition to that whole recognition thing, well, maybe, I don't know, it should go on someone's resume, I think, that you're donated to this cause. But I can think of some other. I can definitely think of some things. Sorry, I can definitely think of some other things that would help. People would help people want to contribute to this sort of thing. And we're talking about a fair amount of money, but I guess ultimately I would think that the donation is the best situation, and also donations from local churches and charities in the area. Something beyond just a homeless shelter, but something that would help people to go from homeless shelter to this kind of housing to something better. But you guys tell me what you think in the comments below. What you think should be done. There's a bunch of steel workers that were protesting this thing, and I would ask them, which they made very very many good points. I would ask them, if there's not going to be a head tax for this, how would you remedy Seattle's homeless population problem? How would you remedy Seattle's homeless issue? And that's what I would ask them. Anyway, leave me thoughts and comments below. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks. Bye.